Prime Minister Sunak, and in fact, we are joined by Ollie Barrett, my colleague from London, to tell us more about how these elections are panning out. Ollie, hello there out there. It's good to see you and thank you for joining, Ollie. Sakal here. Now, Prime Minister Sunak's Conservative Party's agenda has been unveiled for the government on Tuesday. He has promised some kind of financial security. That's what he keeps talking about. And also he says the opposition Labour Party can never provide. That's a strong pitch. Is this cutting ice with the electorate?
Hi, Sakal. Well, all of the polling suggests that nothing really the Conservatives have done in the election campaign so far has been cutting any ice with the electorate at all. None of the polls seem to be budging in favour of the Conservatives, but that is nonetheless the argument that the Prime Minister is going to be making as the Conservatives launch their manifesto. One of the reasons that it's difficult for Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to make that argument is that his party has been in power in one form or another for the last 14 years, and the opposition Labour Party will point to any difficulties in the UK economy and they will say that they are the blame of the Conservative-led government. It's also difficult because just today we've had the latest labour market numbers from the UK economy and they don't make particularly pretty reading. Unemployment is at its highest level for over 2 years now. Wage growth is strong, but that may well mean that the Bank of England can't cut interest rates as soon as it would like to ease some of the pressure on households and businesses up and down the country. So all of that makes the economic arguments that Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is making today difficult for him to land. That said, he will insist that the Conservatives are putting forward tax-cutting pledges that the Labour Party won't be matching. They've made accusations that the Labour Party's plans aren't fully funded, aren't fully costed and would lead to tax rises. The Conservative manifesto being launched today is a potential major moment in the campaign. That's what Conservatives hope, at least. They hope this is a moment that things can start to swing in their direction. But as I say, all of the polling from the election campaign so far suggests that everything the Conservatives have been trying up to this point is not really making much of a difference.
Okay, that exactly leads to the question, and I think that his message has failed in a way to start closing the gap with the Labour Party. You spoke about the tax cuts. That's one of the rallying points in these elections, isn't it?
Absolutely it is. And again, that is what makes this so difficult for the Prime Minister and his supporters. One of the things that we expect to see in the Conservative manifesto is a pledge that if the Conservatives get back into government, they will cut the national insurance tax on earnings by a further 2p in the pound. That's problematic in one sense, which is that the Conservatives have made 2 previous cuts to national insurance just over recent months, and neither of those made much difference to the Conservatives in the polling, in the minds of the electorate. So some Conservative supporters will say, well, why do we feel that this one will make a difference when the previous times we have done this, it doesn't seem to have helped us much with the voters. But the Conservatives are nonetheless trying to make it a major dividing line in this election. They are trying to present themselves as the party that wants to cut taxes and is cutting taxes, and they want to portray the Labour Party as a party that would put taxes up. Now, Labour would deny that characterisation, and as I say,
Ollie,
Labour would also point at some of the difficulties in the UK economy at the moment and say that they are the fault of the Conservative government.
Okay, one quick question before I leave you there, Ollie. He's clearly stated that resigning is something he hasn't considered, but he's also agreed in a way mistakes in the election campaign, quote unquote. So that's very interesting. And what's the inside track on that?
Very interesting. It is astonishing, really, for the leader of a political party, the Prime Minister of a country, to have to say during an election campaign that they are not considering resigning. But he did acknowledge that those mistakes that were made last week on the election campaign, which involved leaving D-Day commemoration in France earlier than some other international leaders, were a mistake, and he shouldn't have done so.
We'll leave it there. Many thanks, Ollie Barrett, for joining us from London on the elections there. Thank you.